Celebrations surrounding the hoisting of the national tricolour are generally witnessed on 15th August and 26th January. You may wonder why it's happening here on 17th September. To find out why on 17th September, let's take a journey into the past and discover the answer from history. This was the glorious moment in time when this tricolour was proudly hoisted all over India. All over India? Not quite. There was one very big exception. The sprawling princely state of Hyderabad, where the people were unable to enjoy freedom with the rest of India. And they had to wait for a whole 1 year, 1 month and 1 day. Hyderabad was the biggest of 565 princely states. Its area 21 lakh square kilometers, population 1.61 crore, and annual income in pre-independence time rupees 2.5 crore. It was the richest and biggest of all princely states. For a perspective, let's hear what Dr. Parveen Rukhsana, an eminent professor of history who has guided several students in their MPhil and PhD, has to say.
Though the Hindus were in majority and the ruler was a Muslim, we find that their people were living very harmony and they were leading a very good life without having no conflict amongst themselves. But when the period of the 7th Nizam, Nawab Mir Usman Ali Khan starts, we find that a great drastic change has taken place.
The monarch, the 7th Nizam, Nawab Mir Usman Ali Khan, who ruled the state of Hyderabad, was renowned as the richest person in the whole of India. While he ruled 21 lakh square kilometers of land, he owned 2 lakh square kilometers of land, almost 10% as his personal private property. While he was obscenely wealthy, his subjects were pathetically poor. Since the formation of the independent Islamic State of Pakistan was imminent, the Nizam of Hyderabad also envisaged a separate independent country, which he could rule over as head of the Islamic State of Hyderabad.
अगर कल ब्रिटिश राज खत्म होगा और वो यहाँ से चले जाएंगे तो मेरा भारत देश में शामिल होने का कोई सवाल ही पैदा नहीं होता। मैं एक खुदमुख्तार हुकूमत सल्तनत इस्लामिया आसिफिया कायम करूँगा।
Once Nizam said, सलातीन सलफ सब हो चुके नजरे अजल उस्मा मुसलमानों का तेरी सल्तनत से है नशा बाकी. He said all the Muslim rulers have died. There is no more impact of Islam. If there is any impact, it is due to Usman Ali Khan.
It was during that period that the Ittihadul Muslimin, a dominant Muslim organization, was headed by Nawab Bahadur Yar Jung.
Bahadur Yar Jung said there is some change needed. He said, मुसलमानों से तेरी सल्तनत का है नशा. It is due to Muslims that your rule is there. Then Nizam felt a danger. He said, see, these people are going to come against me, not Hindus. They say it was Nizam who was responsible for the killing of Bahadur Yar Jung. And when Bahadur Yar Jung died, the successor was a more dangerous person, Qasim Razvi. And he formed a militant organization of Razakar.
Razakar literally means a volunteer who dedicates himself in the service of God. But ironically, the Razakars then acted in just the opposite manner. The Razakars were notorious for their atrocities on Hindus. They stepped up their hate campaign with increased atrocities with the aim of driving the Hindus out of the state of Hyderabad. Many resisted their criminal acts, and some freedom fighters risked their lives to rescue and save the honor and dignity of women. One such freedom fighter is the late Ramchandra Veerappa.
ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳದು ಮರ್ಯಾದ ಉಳಿಸೋ ಸಲ ನನ್ನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆನ ಕಳ್ಳಿ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದು ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತು ಜಿಲ್ಲಾಕ್ಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತು.
It cost me my intestine to save the honor of a woman.
ಏನಂತೀರಿ?
I could not tolerate it when I saw them unclothing her. When I intervened, they pierced my stomach with this spear. I saved her chastity, but my intestine got damaged.
ಆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಗಳ ಮರ್ಯಾದ ಉಳಿಸಿ ಆ ಅಕ್ಕಿಯರ ಪಾರಾದವು, ನನ್ನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆನ ಕಳ್ಳಿ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಿದ್ದು ಇಂಥ ಬಾಲ್ಯದಿಂದ ಹೊಡೆದ್ರು.
During that resistance, freedom fighters required weapons to counter the Razakars. And it is important to note that several women too played a big role in supplying weapons.
मग आम्ही शस्त्रास्त्रांची ने-आण केली. हातात प्रत्यक्ष शस्त्र मी घेतलं नाही, पण
We used to smuggle weapons. I myself did not use any, but my colleagues like Dagdabai Shilke, Khabra used weapons to fight. The rest of us, like Geetabai Chartankar, Ashtabai Wagmare, Karuna Chaudhary, around 5-6 of us, took up the task of supplying weapons to freedom fighters.
अगदी प्रामुख्याने शस्त्रास्त्रांची ने-आण करण्यावरच आमची नेमणूक झालेली होती.
The Communist Party was established in Hyderabad state. But due to circumstances then, it portrayed itself as a non-political organization. Their activists started working along with the local state Congress workers and operated along with non-political organizations like the Andhra Mahasabha, Karnatak Parishad and Maharashtra Parishad. Simultaneously, the Hindu Mahasabha and Arya Samaj launched their satyagraha named Bhaganagar Nishastra Parishad. While freedom of religion and civil rights were their principal demands, the local state Congress demanded a responsible political system. Dr. B.C. Mahabaleshwarappa got his doctorate for his thesis on the integration of Hyderabad, Karnataka.
The nationalists, under the leadership of Swami Ramananda Tirth, who gave a secular color to this historic struggle and instructed our Samajists, the Hindu Mahasabha people and the state Congress to join together in launching what is known as Joint Union Movement to bring pressure on Nizam government to concede and join the Union of India.
However, despite only 12% of the population being Muslim and 88% non-Muslim, the Nizam had a different idea. He was bent on becoming the monarchical head of an independent Islamic state of Hyderabad. To make that happen, he had already encouraged a large number of Muslims from the rest of India to settle in the state of Hyderabad. The Razakars continued atrocities on Hindus with the aim of driving out Hindus from the state of Hyderabad. It was then that the Arya Samaj volunteers, especially Chandrasekhar Patil, fought to safeguard the cause of Hindus and Hinduism. There were many nationalist Muslims who supported the cause of the movement, like Habibuddin, Zulfikar Hussain, Shoaibullah Khan, and several others. The Nizam took various policy decisions which caused great unrest among the people who made up the population of the state of Hyderabad. While a majority of the people used Telugu as their mother tongue, followed by Marathi and Kannada and Urdu, the Nizam, however, chose to make Urdu the official language of communication and administration. All official papers were in Urdu, and Urdu was the medium of instruction in educational institutions. It was made compulsory right from the primary level to postgraduate level. Thus, the language of the minority was forcibly thrust on the majorities.
हर एक आदमी के लिए उर्दू लाजमी थी, उर्दू में पढ़ते थे, उर्दू में बोलते थे, यहाँ के न्यायालयों में उर्दू थी, दफ्तरों में उर्दू थी। उसी वजह से यहाँ के जो पुराने ख्याल के लोग थे उर्दू सीखना बहुत फ़ख्र की बात समझते थे, उर्दू में बात करना फ़ख्र समझते थे। ये माहौल यहाँ था उसके दिन।
The Nizam not only promoted Urdu, but also strictly opposed the use of the Hindi language.
उनको डर ये था कि वहाँ ब्रिटिश इंडिया के अंदर हिंदी के प्रचार के द्वारा आज़ादी की लड़ाई लड़ रहे थे। जितने बड़े बड़े लीडर थे, लाला लाजपत राय, सावरकर, भगत सिंह, ये सब लोग हिंदी में भाषण करते थे और हिंदी के भाषण के द्वारा लोगों को जलाते थे। हिंदी अगर हैदराबाद में आ गई, प्रचार हो गया तो मेरी सरकार को धक्का है, मेरी कुर्सी टिकना मुश्किल है, इसीलिए हिंदी का यहाँ पर विरोध होता था।
An independent press is considered to be the fourth estate in a democracy. But just as no autocrat will ever allow an independent press to flourish, the Nizam did the same.
वर्तमानपत्राचं म्हणजे कसं की हैदराबाद राज्याचं एक धोरण असायचं त्या काळात की कुठलंही बाहेर
The Nizam's policy was to ban all newspapers from outside, whether they are in Marathi, Telugu, Kannada, English or Hindi. They were all stopped from entering Hyderabad officially. So we used to publish local rags at various places under different mastheads.
छोटी छोटी वर्तमानपत्र काढायची.
In the rest of India, under British rule, the vernacular press survived, although they enjoyed limited freedom. But in the Nizam state, the press was totally banned. Only those papers which were pro-establishment and overtly praised the Nizam were allowed to survive. A nationalist Urdu editor like Shoaibullah Khan, who criticized the atrocities of the Nizam and the Razakars in his paper Imroz, was brutally murdered. Since the press was gagged, the medium of radio was resorted to. A clandestine radio transmission was started from Borivali in Mumbai. Meet the then announcer Mr. Padmakar Latkar.
मग मी पहिल्यांदा राष्ट्रीय गीत म्हणायचा. हे करून मग ये आज़ाद हैदराबाद रेडियो है, आप पद्माकर लाटकर आपको हिंदी में मुक्ति संग्राम के खबरात जो है अनाउंस करेंगे. उसके बाद हिंदी में, मराठी में 15-20 मिनट ये करेंगे.
A song praising the Nizam was made compulsory in all educational institutions.
निज़ाम मुल्क उस्मान अली खान असीफ़े साबे सिराजुद्दीन इस्लामी अमीर मोमिना तू हो.
Which means, Usman Ali, thou who art the son of Islam and art the chief of the Muslim community. Freedom fighters propagated the rendition of Vande Mataram in schools.
छीन सकती है नहीं सरकार वंदे मातरम, हम गरीबों के गले का हार वंदे मातरम. जेल में हो चक्की घसेटे, भूख से हो मर रहे, पर आनंद से गाते रहें ये गीत वंदे मातरम.
This greatly disturbed the Nizam, and he immediately prohibited the singing of Vande Mataram. Anyone who disobeyed this order was imprisoned. But the cry of Vande Mataram started to echo in the walls of prisons. Freedom fighters defiantly sang Vande Mataram to challenge the supremacy of the Nizam.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam, Suphalam, Malayaj Shitalam, Sasya Shamala Mataram, Vande Mataram.
One freedom fighter called Ramchandra Rao was imprisoned for singing Vande Mataram. He, however, continued to sing it in prison. The police beat him up mercilessly. So strong was his passion to uphold and strengthen the spirit of the Vande Mataram movement that, despite being struck 36 times, he did not stop, and he continued to sing Vande Mataram till he lost consciousness. Ever since, he has been called by the name Vande Mataram Ramchandra Rao. And here he is in person.
నేను ఒకటి స్పష్టంగా మాట చెప్పదలంచానండి, మన దేశం దాని విభక్తి చేయకూడదు, దాన్ని డివిజన్ చేయకూడదు. It should remain as a unit, one unit. Divisive tendencies పెరుగుతూ పోతున్నాయి. అందుకొరకు నా అభిప్రాయం ఏంటంటే we should fight against these forces.
All over the country, the independence movement was gaining ground. All through that period, the Nizam, with his autocratic rule, declined to join India. He was determined to mercilessly suppress any movement which was against his monarchy.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ನಿರಂಕುಶ ಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಇತ್ತು.
Here, it was absolute autocracy. You either obeyed the orders of the Nizam and his ministers, or you were hanged.
ಮಾಡದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಫಾಸಿನೇ.
The Nizam continued his dictatorial rule. Several patriots were imprisoned. The death penalty was imposed on many who opposed him, while the Razakars were left scot-free. The Nizam lobbied internationally. He took the matter to the United Nations organization, seeking an independent state of Hyderabad. He even approached the Portuguese, offering to purchase Goa so that he could have a sea link with the world. Simultaneously, the Mushirabad Congress convened under the chairmanship of Digambar Rao Bindu. Expecting that the Swamiji and several other activists would be prosecuted, they all went underground. Offices of the Management of Action Committee were established in Mumbai, Chennai, Vijayawada, Sholapur and surrounding districts of Hyderabad state. Training camps were set up to provide physical and military skills. To finance all these activities, the Umri branch of the State Bank of Hyderabad was looted, and the money was used to purchase weapons. Govind Bhai Shroff published a special issue of his Freedom Bulletin featuring an article, "Keep the Torch Burning." This article gave a renewed encouragement, added a new dimension, and added inspiration to the Hyderabad freedom movement. Jagirdars and Zamindars came together as a united force to share power. While on the other hand, Congress passed a resolution eradicating the system of Zamindari and Jagirdari. It was a battle for salvation. Swamiji was arrested while the Action Committee remained underground. Jungle Satyagraha non-cooperation movement was started. All were ablaze with a sense of purpose to fight the Razakari harassment. And many laid down their lives in the battle. This movement spread all over the state. Villagers declared freedom on their own. The Ittehadul Muslimin and the Razakars reacted violently, but they were unable to withstand the force of the people. The Nizam tried several devious means to hold on to power. He made several tempting offers, but undeterred, the State Congress remained steadfast in their ultimate fight. People were aroused, even as several villages were burnt and deserted. Because of the mass movement on the one hand, some villages set up parallel governing bodies and challenged the power of Qasim Razvi, who was still delivering irresponsible, inflammatory speeches. The 7th Nizam blindly backed him and the Razakar atrocities. But one youth, Narayan Pawar, along with 2 colleagues, sought to put an end to this. On 4th December 1947, Narayan Pawar threw a bomb at the Nizam's car. The bomb exploded, but did not hurt the Nizam. Pawar was arrested and tortured mercilessly to unearth the conspiracy. But he did not divulge. He insisted that he had acted on his own accord and gave a written statement to that effect. The matter reached the court. And advocate Ramlal, in an attempt to save Narayan Pawar, pleaded to the judge that it was not an assassination attempt, but just a trick to gain the Nizam's attention to some discrepancy. When the judge questioned Narayan Pawar, he disagreed with his lawyer and claimed full responsibility for wanting to assassinate the Nizam, fully knowing that such a statement would attract the death penalty. The court sentenced him to death. But fate would have it otherwise. Before the Nizam could sign his death decree, the Indian forces had entered Hyderabad, and Narayan Pawar lives to tell his tale.
ये जो कठिन समय था, ये जो संघर्ष था, वो किसी मजहब के खिलाफ नहीं था, बल्कि वो निज़ाम का जो राज्य था, निज़ाम की जो सत्ता थी, उसको मिटाने के लिए और रज़ाकार का जुल्म ख़त्म करने के लिए और अंत में निज़ाम स्टेट भारत देश में विलीन करने के लिए ये संघर्ष था.
Yes, it was the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who sought to put an end to this discrepancy on Indian soil. He ordered Indian forces to converge on Hyderabad from all sides. On 13th September 1948, the police action commenced, and the process of winning over Hyderabad started. The masses welcomed the forces wholeheartedly. They had support wherever they went. The Razakars and the Nizam's time was up. Soon after, on 17 September 1948, Nawab Nizam Usman Ali Khan and his army surrendered to the Indian forces. His surrender was broadcast over the radio.
दौलत उस्मानिया यानी हुकूमत रियासत हैदराबाद अपनी दिफा के सिलसिले में माजूर है और इस बाब में हम मुफ्तफ़ी होने के लिए आमादा है. सूरत हाल ये है कि नई हुकूमत हिंद अपनी सरकर्दगी में तमाम मामलातों को दुरुस्त कर देगी. मैं आवाम से दरख्वास्त करता हूँ कि वो पुरसुकून रहे और किसी इंतशार और इफ्तिराक़ को पैदा न होने दे. मैं अपने हलीफों को हुक्म देता हूँ कि वो यूएनओ की सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में रुजू न करे और अपनी पहले की कार्रवाई को फरामोश करे. आवाम से फिर एक बार इल्तमास है कि हमारी हुकूमत की गलतियों को भूल जाए.
And the princely state of Hyderabad merged with the Union of India. It was a victory for the Hyderabad liberation movement. It was a victory of democracy over autocratic monarchy. It was a victory of secularism. It was a victory of the people. And it was 17th September.